Welcome to These Are the Blades of Our Lives, the figure skating show where I talk to you about figure skating like it is drama for our mamas. And ladies and gentlemen, women and men, it is the holiday season. We have goodwill towards men, and everything is possible except finding footage of the Japanese nationals. I do not understand why Japan requires me to become a junior detective in order for me to watch the Japanese figure skating national. Do you really have to make it that hard, Japan? But thank goodness my detective skills, my spidey senses, other people posting all combined enabled me to finally watch the 2022 Japanese Figure Skating Nationals. And oh, was it worth it? With the pairs. Well, I don't think there's much that I can report on the pairs. I think we were all really looking forward to seeing Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara, but they had such a horrendous traveling ordeal. First, they couldn't even get out of Canada to get into Japan. When they finally made their way to Japan, their luggage got lost there for their skate. So they didn't even have a chance to even participate in national, which I know, given how hardworking and diligent this pair appears to be, must have been so devastating for them. I hope they shake it off and they prepare themselves for the rest of the season. Hopefully, they'll take flights out 2 weeks ahead of whatever competition they need to get to unless they can drive. But so there wasn't much to be seen for pairs at national. Then we had Ice Dance, which was supposed to be this battle between Kana, Muramoto, Daisuke, Takahashi, and on the other side it was supposed to be like Misato, Komatsubara, and her husband Tim Koleto. But really, the writing has been on the wall the entire season, and it really wasn't any kind of major competition. This was a win right from start to finish for Kana and Daisuke. When I say Maria Zueva was doing the good work in Japan, she was doing the good work in Japan. Unfortunately, Marie France just has one too many pairs, and something has got to give. And Sato and Tim was one of those pairs that she probably could have she could lose that. It wouldn't be such a big thing for her. So it wasn't really a competition. The rhythm dance for Kana and Daisuke, honestly one of my favorite this season. In terms of the other teams that were competing in Japan, obviously Kana and Daisuke were in a league of their own. It really wasn't comparable. I really don't like Misato and Tim's Fifth Element. It just, I feel like Marie France and the team did not really put that much effort into poor Tim and Misato this season. So it wasn't even a competition. Unfortunately, in the free dance, Kana and Daisuke were doing so good. They were doing so good. And then they got to that final lift of the program, and poor Daisuke's legs just gave out a little. Listen, don't be coming for my man Daisuke. First of all, he is switching disciplines. Second of all, those lifts are difficult. And also, my man is not as young as he used to be. Leave him alone. He did his best. But despite that mistake, they still managed to win with like over a 4 point lead. And I agree. I agree. I don't think everyone understands what it means to have Daisuke be the national champion in Japan of two different disciplines. He went from single men national champion to ice dance, not even pairs, ice dance men's champion. For somebody like me who loves the sport, who wants to see the sport grows, this is such a wonderful like just wonderful event to see. Because what this means to me is that all of these wonderful skaters who are trying to decide between retiring and changing discipline will probably now choose to change discipline, because changing discipline is no longer seen as a failure, as you couldn't cut it in single. It's just a transition to something new. That means we get to keep more talented skaters who probably don't have the technical quads to make it in single, but who have wonderful skating skills that they can give to pairs, that they can give to ice dance. Yes, I am talking about my tiny queen Satoko. Ice dance is still available for you. Please come over. I just feel like this is such a joyous moment for skating and for lovers of skater as a whole. Very happy to see it. And if Kana and Daisuke are able to finish top 10 at Worlds, oh my God. Come on, Maria. You can do this. You know where all the skeletons are buried. It's not to dig them up and get this done. So while ice dance and pairs were relatively calm, men and women were bringing us the dramas, starting with men. The short program was such a shock for me. And when I say it was a shock, it is because of one of my trouble baby skaters that made it so. In sixth place was Yuma Kageyama. Completely understandable. That Yuma, I honestly don't think he needed to come back this year at all. I think he should have taken the whole year just to try to get healthy. But I do understand that this is going to be a Worlds and Japan, and he really wanted to participate in that. But you could tell that the way he was skating, this is a skater that is coming back from injury and is coming back clean. There are no 5 heart medication helping Yuma to get back to shape. There is no grandpa juice helping Yuma to get back to shape. Yuma is getting back to shape with his God given talent alone. And you could see that. You could see the struggle of a natural athlete getting back into shape naturally. You saw his struggle, you saw his up and down. And Yuma is obviously a hardworking, diligent little skater, but we saw him struggle in that short program. And I feel like the judges were trying to motivate him and were being very kind, and he ended up in sixth place. Another skater, again, coming back from injury, naturally struggling, is Shun Soto. I've told you guys, I have been a fan of Shun since their junior years, and him and Yuma were juniors. And to see him grow and then to see him struggle, see him go through injuries and now coming back. And I feel like this season has been such a slow stepping stone for him. He did really well compared to where he was coming from on the Grand Prix final, getting himself those 2 bronze medals, making the Grand Prix final, and then now coming into nationals after the short program being in fifth place. Really felt like going through that trajectory. Then, problem child number 3, Kazuki Tomono. How I love Kazuki. How he just cannot be consistent to save me no matter what. But what a good showing he had here in the short program. Then in third place, we had Soto Yamamoto. Soto has just been doing what he's been doing all season. He doesn't have the technical difficulty of some of the other skaters, but he is consistent and he is clean. So him being in third place perfectly made sense. What made no sense, was my baby, problem child number 2, Koshiro Shimada. You guys know how much I love Koshiro Shimada, but you know I think he is a one program clean skater. If he's gonna give you that short program clean, you're gonna get that short program clean. If you're gonna give you that long program clean, you're gonna get that long program clean. So when he skated that short program and I saw he was in second place, I was like, yes, my baby did his short program. Okay, he's probably gonna plummet in the long program. Having him be second in the short program was, I thought, was everything. And then, of course, in first place with a clean program, he did double the triple on his quad combination, but that doesn't really mean anything. He had one of his cleanest short program here is Shoma Uno. My problem, baby. He was no longer a problem for me this season. Thank you, Stefan Lambiel, looking so much better in the short program than I have seen him in a while. And I know a lot of people don't like this short program, but he makes it work for me. Shomo makes it work for me. And I am a fan of this short program. Then we got to the long program. And oh my God, first of all, in the short program, my poor Miura, who started out so strong at the start of this season. If anyone had asked me who is going to Worlds, I would have been Shoma Uno, Miura. But towards the end of this season, Grand Prix was a struggle. And then this short program of National was such a disaster for him that it literally left him in the teeth. But he fought back. He fought back. Miura fought back and came in second in the long program. Granted, he was second in the long program where all the men were making mistake. There was not a single man that was clean in this long program at Japanese National. Not a single one. But he still did enough to come back. And I think we are forgetting he is only 17. He is only 17. And I cannot imagine the kind of pressure and stress that he was feeling going through this process. So I was so happy to see him come back and finish in sixth place at nationals, his very first senior nationals, and he finished top six. It might not have been what was expected or what he wanted, but I still feel overall it was a good outcome. Soto Yamamoto, again, does not have that technical gun power to match with the other guys. And he also doesn't really have the PCs to also compete with some of the other guys. So a couple of errors here and there, but not a disastrous program. Found himself in fifth place. My baby Shun Soto just climbing up slowly but surely. Not a clean program. No one had a clean program, but there is something tangible there. He's definitely got good skating skill. There's ice presence there. I feel like he's just waiting. He's like a flower in the budding stage, just waiting to bloom. I feel like by 2026, my baby Shun Soto will have bloomed and surprised all of us. And then, problem child, Kazuki Tomono. He did what he needed to do to get himself on that podium, and he is a fan favorite. I do love to see him. So happy to see him deliver what he could when he could and get that national bronze medal. I really hope this motivates him going forward and he gains some more consistency. Then problem child number two, who I thought would have ended up in like 10th place after the law program. But Koshiro Shimada came to surprise me in the best of ways for the Christmas holiday. It wasn't perfect, but he did enough. Although he finished sixth in the long program, that combined with the short program was enough for him to get a silver medal. That is two clean programs for him. A win is a win, people. A win is a win. For me, given how Shimada usually has one good program, one implosion, this was two clean programs for Shimada in my book. Yes, way to go. And then, of course, our champion here was Shoma Uno. He started off that program, first jump beautiful, second jump pop. When he went into that third jump and he landed in that fall split, my heart stopped. And he was holding his heart. I was like, oh my God, no, no. But you know what? His work with Stefan Lambiel has helped him to grow so much because he didn't fall apart. He didn't give up. He dug into himself and he fought, and the rest of that program was just beautiful. Especially him throwing in that triple X or double X or just to make up some points. It just shows how far my problem child number one, Shoma Uno, has grown. Definitely a well deserved win. Again, this was a very messy nationals for men, but the people who needed to do what they needed to do did just enough to get on the podium. All three of my problem babies are on the podium, and I could not be happier. And this was definitely a superb outing for Stefan Lambiel. Two of his skaters went 1 and 2 at Japanese nationals. I don't think he could ask for anything more. And if they could keep building on this going towards 2026, who knows? If this continues, he may have two skaters going to the Olympics for Japan. We will just have to wait and see. So once the men was over, we moved on to the ladies. Oh my goodness, the ladies. This was so many, aside from the top two skaters, which we basically more or less knew who they were going to be. The rest of it was just a hot mess of a hot mess. Literally from like 3 to 20, you just didn't know where to put anyone. In the short program, Rino Masuki, whom I would have had in the top six, was 20th. Rinka Watanabe, who had a superb start of the season, who made it to the Grand Prix final, again was my pick for the bronze medal, was in 19th place. Ryan Sumiyoshi, who had a very nice Grand Prix season, was in 17th place. I mean, poor Rinka Kihara, coming back from injury again. This is what it looks like when a skater, when an athlete is coming back from injury naturally, grandpa juice free, when there is no 5 heart pills to help, when it is just the human body doing what it can. It looks like what Rinka's going through. I mean, she started that short program. She looked strong. She looked confident, but then that triple combination just got away from her. And there was just no coming back from that. But you can see she's slowly building. She's slowly getting herself together. So her 11th place finish here for me is very hopeful because if she could be 11 here this year, she can make it to the top 6 next year, top 3 the following year. She can actually become a contender for Milan 2026. And I feel like that's what she needs to look at. Her and all of these skaters coming back from injury, not this year's national, but the bigger picture, which is the Olympics in 4 years. Um, it was just it was just all over for the ladies. I mean, the top six was Mana Kawabe had another decent outing here. Saki Miyake, I will be perfectly honest, not really a skater that I was looking at this entire season. Yet she managed to snap it out when she needed to and was fifth, after the short program. Mao Shimada, fourth, saw that made perfect sense. Mone Chiba, what a lovely skater. What a lovely skater. The skating skill, the glide, the there's just something so lovely about her. Consistency, not really, but the whole skating package, the things that I love about skating, she definitely has in abundance. And then, of course, the top two were my Mihara, a little tentative in the short program. Those jumps are looking a little shaky. I don't know if it's because of fatigue. The Japanese ladies have men and ladies, have done a lot this season, back to back, and the turnover from Grand Prix to National really wasn't that long. So I can understand why they would be a little fatigued, why, the jumps would look a little laborious. But she managed to do what she needed to do to get into second place. And then Miss Kaori Sakamoto, she was like, Grand Prix was a fluke. We're not about that life. She came with her Miss Janet Jackson on. She tripled her. That triple flip, triple toe was like, yes, I'll be honest though. The camera zoomed out so far. It was like Japan was like, we're going to zoom it out. If she does good, fine. If she does bad, we'll just flip the camera and then flip back. That camera was so far away, I really couldn't tell how fabulous that triple flip, triple toe was. But she got it done. And she was well deserved in first place. The double axel, that's her bread and butter. Now that her triple toe, her triple flip, triple toe is coming back together, she's really beginning to feel a sense of herself. Then we got to the long program. The top remained somewhat what it was, but we did have some upward mobility. Um, Miss Rion managed to end her night in 14th place. So that she went from 17th to 14th place. Rhino Masuki, she pulled herself by the bootstrap from 20th all the way to 13th. Rika Rinka Watanabe. Oh, I don't even know what's going on with Watanabe. She managed to finish that whole process in 12th place, which is still better than the 18th place she started off with. Rinka Kihara stayed at 11th place where she was. Then we had Nana Kawabe, who was doing good in the short program, in 6th place. That long just got away from her, ended that night in 9th place. Then our top six was Hana Yoshida, poor Mone Shiba. She ended up falling from 3rd place to 5th place. In 4th place was Ami Makai. 3rd place, winning her first senior medal, was Ma Shimada. Wasn't a perfect outing. The triple axel, down she went. The quad toe, down she went. Again, which I'm saying, let that child do a double axel. Let her do a triple. Like, why do we need her to do a quad toe and a double axel? But that's what she's doing. So the start of that program was very rough with 2 falls, which I felt like left her behind on her music. In that first half of the program, she was sort of like rushing to catch up to the music, which for me kind of takes me out of the enjoyment of the music. But the second half of the program, just lovely. She's such a lovely skater. 2nd place, again, the jumps were a little tentative. I hope she takes some time and just rests up and prepares for Worlds, because she's done a lot this particular season. So in 2nd place was Mai Mihara. Can we give Mai her flower? Can we give Mai her flower? After 4 years being off the world team, especially last year for the Olympic, where they could have sent her. The Japanese Federation could have sent her, but they chose not to. After 4 years, Mai is going to World, and it's not any world, it is a world at home. Way to go, Mai. And of course, snatching her crown back, shushing all of the critics, was Miss Kaori Sakamoto, winning another Japanese national title. She looked better in that free dance than I've seen her all season. Whatever demon she was battling seemed to have been lifted off of her, and the triple triple looked really good. All the jumps look solid. Still, I don't feel like she's completely settled into the program. I think the program is still skating her as opposed to her skating the program. But to me, this was the best outing I've seen from her so far. And we can only hope she builds from this and we really get a full, all out Kaori for Worlds. I just feel like we all knew that Japanese nationals for women was going to be a bloodbath. But this was just a messy bloodbath. Like the juniors buried the seniors. And which is understandable. They're younger, they're healthier, their limbs are more plump. They could do a lot more triples than the poor seniors who their bodies are showing the signs of what they've been through. But I really did not expect poor Rinka Watanabe to do a 18th in the short program, 12 in the long. I really thought that Nana Kawabe would have probably podium. I thought Rinka would have podium. If not Rinka, I thought Nana would have podium. But no, these juniors were not having it and they buried their seniors. All in all, I enjoyed Japanese nationals for the reasons that I enjoy skating: the edge, the knee bend, the ice coverage, the non drama, the drug free. There was just so many things that I loved about Japanese national that I typically just love about figure skating. So now with Japanese nationals being over, Japan was able to settle a couple of its teams. So we now have the assignments for the junior world team. For men, Japan has two spots. They're sending Miura because, again, he's only 17. So it makes perfect sense for them to be sending him to Junior World. So hopefully he'll compose himself. He can win Junior World, and that will build back some of the confidence that he lost. They're also sending Mazumu Yoshioka. Oh, I hope I got that right. Yoshioka, Mazumu Yoshioka as the second guy. For the women, of course, they're sending Mao Shimada. This is definitely expected to be her world title to win. So they're definitely sending Mao Shimada. I cannot wait to see her showdown between her and Jia Shen. And the second women they're sending is Ami Nakai, a lovely skater. I like seeing Ami skate. Hopefully, she'll have a good skate at Worlds. Japan has the chance of definitely securing three spots for next year's with these two skaters. And they also even have a chance of walking away with two medals, depending on how these two skaters perform. And of course, for ice dance and pairs, they only have, one each. So they're sending their their junior national champion, Shimita Meguruchi and Hurana Murakami. And then for ice dance, they're sending Maokita and Masaya Morita. So I think they're probably going to end up with one ice dance spot again and one pairs spot again, because honestly speaking, the two pairs and ice dance they're sending are still in the developing stage. They're still growing. They're still only doing double doubles, which, I mean, if they're clean and other people are not, you never know. They might end up with two spots. But realistically, I think Japan will probably get three spots for men and juniors, three spots for women and junior, and then one for pair and one for ice dance again next year. They also were able to settle their senior world assignment as well as four continent assignment. So of course, going to worlds for the women is Kaori Sakamoto, our national champion. My Mihara, give her her flower, our silver medalist. However, the third spot kind of surprised me because I honestly thought they would send Mone Shiba. I thought they would invest in a brand new growing talent um, who's shown a little bit uneven performance this season, but who potentially has what it takes if given enough senior exposure. But instead, they decided to go with Rinka Watanabe. So I'm thinking they're doing an overall season arch because Rinka did very well in both of her Grand Prix and she managed to make it to the Grand Prix final. So I think when they took all of that, and plus she had some senior B events where she also did very well. So when you combine all of that, I can see why they would send Rinka to Worlds over Mone Shiba. I can also see why they would send her over Mana because they sent Mana to the Olympics. They sent her to Worlds, and the outcome wasn't that great. She's also readjusting to her new coach, so I understand why they sent Rinka. For men, they're sending, of course, Shoma Uno, Sota Yamamoto, and Kazuki Tomono. Honestly, I see where they're coming from. I see where they're coming from. I honestly did not believe they were going to send Koshiro Shimada. Even though he finished second, this is probably the most consistent season he's had in his entire career. I love Koshiro, don't get me wrong, but he is an incredibly inconsistent skater. And this was actually the first year that he had two Grand Prix assignment on the senior circuit. He simply doesn't have the experience to send him to an event like a world, especially a world that's going to be at home where the pressure is going to be intense. So even though he was in second after the long program, he still came in sixth after the short program. And I really was not expecting them to send Koshiro Shimada. What I was expecting though, I was expecting them to send um, Shoma Uno, Kazuki Tomono, and Shun Soto. Because Shun also had a really good Grand Prix. He won two bronze medals, made it to the Grand Prix final. But I guess when you compare, and he finished fourth here. So I thought combined that they would have sent him. But when you compare, yeah, I don't know. Actually, I thought they would send Shoma Uno, Sota Yamamoto, and Shun Soto. I did not think they would send Kazuki Tomono. You guys know I love Kazuki, but he is very, very inconsistent, especially when the pressure is on. And he did not do well at either of his Grand Prix. Whereas Sota did two silver medals and Shun did two bronze medals. So I honestly thought the team was going to be Shoma, Sota, Shun. So I was a little surprised by Kazuki Tomono's appearance here. But I guess they had their own criteria that they went by. We'll have to see how they perform at Worlds. I think between the women they're sending, the three women, Japan definitely has the potential of retaining its three spots. The men, they should be able to retain three spots. They should be able to retain three spots. And of course, pairs and ice dance, they have one spot in each. Rico Miura and Ryuichi Kihara are going to Worlds for pairs. I would imagine that it will not be difficult for them to, get on the podium. Whether they will win it or not, I am not too sure, but they will definitely get on the podium. That much I'm pretty positive they can get on the podium. And for ice dance, can Kana, Muramoto, and Daisuke Takahashi finish top 10? That's what we're going to have to see. Can they finish top 10 and finally get two spots for Japan? What kind of magic can Maria Zuego work? I'm fascinated to see all this. They also set the assignments for four continent. So it seems like all of the potential next gen skaters who did not get to go to World are being sent to four continent for men. So we have we have three of my favorites. Koshiro Shimada is going to four continent. Shun Soto is going to four continent, and Miura is going to four continent. I feel like they could easily take the podium. Given the fact that Ilya Melanin from the US is not competing, I can definitely see this being an all Japanese podium if the men could get it together and skate clean. But of course, they never get it together and skate clean. But I at least see one or two Japanese men on the podium in four continents. Now, for the women, they're sending Rinka Watanabe. I guess they want to give her some chances to work out the kinks, and they're kind of hoping to prove that what happened at Nationals was a complete fluke to give her a chance to like rebuild her confidence before she goes to World. They're also sending Hana Yoshida and Mone Shiba. I'm really, really hoping Mone Shiba shows what she is capable of at four continent. That way, next season, the Federation will be more comfortable giving her two, spots at the Grand Prix. I'm really looking forward to see how Rinka redeems herself and how Monet does in order to build confidence for the Japanese Federation and her. Ice dance, we're gonna see both of the Japanese teams here. We're gonna see Kana Muramoto and Daisuke Takahashi, as well as Misato Komatsubara and Tim Koleto. I still think it's going to be the same outcome. I still think internationally and at home, Kana and Daisuke are way ahead of Misato and Tim. So I still think they're gonna be way ahead. And I think maybe I definitely see Kana and Daisuke having a top six finish, but depending on who everyone else send, they might even end up in the podium. If if Maria Zueva could get them a bronze medal at four continent, I would bow down to her genius. I would bow down to her genius. And of course, Riku, Miura, and Ryuichi Kihara are going to be at Four Continent. I think since they didn't get to perform at nationals at home, this is a wonderful opportunity for them to get one more performance under their belt, to leave a positive image with the judges before World comes around. So depending again who shows up at Four Continent, this could be a podium finish or a title for them. We're gonna have to wait and see. All in all, it was a beautiful holiday. It was a wonderful Japanese national, but there are some things I want to mention. First, I really wish the Japanese fans would get behind Shoma a little more. And I don't feel like supporting Shoma Uno is disloyal to Yuzuru Hanyu. Yuzuru Hanyu is Yuzuru Hanyu. He will always be Yuzuru Hanyu. He is the goat and the legend that he is living in his world. And I think, with Yuzuru deciding to retire, which is a decision he made for himself, and we all respect that, I think we could still be fan of Yuzuru, yet still give a little more support to Shoma Uno because he deserves it. He deserves it. Oh my God. Have you not seen his back and arm extension? So I wish not even to the same fervor that the Fanyus had for Hanyu, but that the Japanese fans would just get a little more behind him. I don't want to see rains of poo, but just a couple little fill the ice a little. I kind of feel bad not only for Shoma, but all of the other Japanese skaters who are doing their best to fill that humongous void that Yuzuru Hanyu left. And I wish the fandom, the Japanese fandom, would get behind those skaters and uplift them a little more. On a sad note, I feel like there's so many injured skaters who are coming to compete. I especially feel like Yuma should have set out this season, because he looks like he's coming back from injury. And it was really, really sad to see. And then my poor baby Marin Honda didn't even make it to the long program, and that is devastating because I want to see her back on national ice. And that was that loss of a talent. I don't think people understand how fabulous Moran Honda was as a junior when she was competing against Alena Zegidova. she was the it girl. And for her to get to a point where she cannot even make it to the long program is devastating for me as a fan of her and of the sport. And again, Moran, you can join the Tiny Queen in ice dance. You could hop right on over and join her in ice dance because you are a talent, and I don't want the sport to lose you. But I loved everything about Japanese nationals as I knew I would. But what about you guys? I've rambled long enough. Let me know, what did you think about Japanese nationals? Leave me a comment.